One thing I've noticed is that many successful professionals already have financial products, but still don't feel financially organized. They already have investments, insurance, savings, multiple accounts, but underneath everything, they still wonder, am I doing this correctly? Does everything actually fit together? Am I missing something important? And after years of financial planning work, I realized something important. Most people still misunderstand what financial planning is actually supposed to do and why many high earners eventually need something deeper than disconnected financial advice. This misunderstanding creates a lot of financial fragmentation underneath otherwise successful financial lives. Because many people assume financial planning is mostly about products. But what I've observed in real life is very different. So let me show you what I mean. I think there are usually three broad ways people manage financial decisions: DIY, do it yourself; DFY, done for you; and DWI, done with you. And each one solves a different problem while creating a different weakness. DIY gives you control, but eventually becomes mentally heavy. DFY gives you convenience, but can quietly turn your finances into a black box. DWI creates something different: coordinated clarity. This framework explains why many successful professionals still feel financially fragmented even after accumulating financial products. Because when financial planning gets reduced to products, people end up with fragmented financial lives. The real issue is usually not product access, it's the lack of a coordinated way to make financial decisions. So, in this video, I want to clarify what financial planning is actually supposed to do, especially for high earners whose financial lives have already become more complex. And ultimately, I want to explain why personalized financial guidance exists in the first place. Before we go deeper into this, I'm actually curious. When you hear the phrase financial planning, what immediately comes to mind for you? Investments? Insurance? Retirement? Leave it in the comments below. Now, a lot of people think financial planning is mainly about buying the right financial products. And to be fair, products do matter. Investment matters. Insurance matters. Cash flow matters. But when you look at real life, that's usually not where the real problem is. Because many successful professionals already have products that still feel financially unclear. And I think this is where the misunderstanding quietly begins. The issue is often not a lack of financial activity, but a lack of coordinated financial decision making. And that distinction changes everything. Because activity is not the same as coordination. I mean, you can be financially busy while still financially fragmented underneath everything. One of the biggest misunderstandings I see is that people quietly assume owning financial products is the same thing as having a financial plan. But those are actually very different things. People gradually accumulate insurance, investments, accounts, and savings vehicles, but still lack coordination, sequencing, intentionality, and visibility underneath everything. And this is why I often say financial planning is not product accumulation, it is coordinated financial decision making. And when that coordination becomes personal, ongoing, and integrated into real life decisions, that is what I would call personalized financial guidance. That distinction matters enormously because personalized financial guidance is what financial planning should feel like when it's done properly. Not random advice, not isolated recommendations, not disconnected financial products, but coordinated guidance, helping an increasingly interconnected financial life work together toward the life you actually want. Let me give you a very common example. Imagine someone who already has multiple insurance policies, UITF, stocks, retirement savings, and several bank accounts. From the outside, that looks financially responsible. But underneath everything, there may still be no coordinated direction, no intentional cash flow structure, and no unified priorities connecting those decisions together. And this is where many professionals quietly become confused because they assume, I already have financial products, so why does this still feel unclear or incomplete? Now, another major misunderstanding is that people often reduce financial planning to investing. But investing is only one layer. Even good investing can fail structurally if cash flow is weak, priorities are unclear, protection is inefficient, or execution is inconsistent. And this is why I strongly believe that even a strong investment strategy can feel unstable when the rest of your financial life is fragmented. Because eventually, investing doesn't exist independently anymore. It interacts with your cash flow, your goals, family responsibilities, risk tolerance, and long term coordination. And I think this naturally leads to a much more important question. What happens if your investing improves, but the rest of the system remains disconnected? That is where fragmentation quietly survives. Because the real purpose of financial planning is not mere optimization, it is coordination. Coordination means you align your priorities, your cash flow is intentional, you structure your protection, your investing is connected to your goals, and your decisions reinforce each other over time. And honestly, I think this is the clearest definition of financial planning. The real purpose of financial planning is to turn scattered financial decisions into one coordinated system. So at this point, I'd really be curious. Does your financial life currently feel coordinated? Or does it mostly feel like separate financial decisions happening independently? Please leave it in the comments below. By this point, financial planning starts looking very different, not as products but as coordination. And this is where many professionals realize they already have enough financial activity, but what they lack is coordinated clarity. If someone examined your financial life today, would they see intentional structure or disconnected financial activity? That question matters much more than most people realize. And this is where many professionals realize they already have enough financial activity. Now, this next distinction is extremely important. Information alone does not coordinate decisions. Many professionals overestimate what information by itself can accomplish. People consume content constantly, like videos, podcasts, opinions, strategies, but they still quietly wonder what actually applies to my life right now. That's the difference between information and guidance. And I think this is why the distinction between information and guidance matters so much. Information explains things, but guidance helps you reason clearly, decide wisely, and coordinate decisions. And once financial complexity in your life reaches a certain level, that difference becomes increasingly important. Because as complexity grows, consequences increase, moving parts multiply, execution becomes heavier, and mental bandwidth starts shrinking. And eventually, something important changes. The issue stops being intelligence and starts becoming coordination under complexity. And this is one of the strongest reasons personalized financial guidance starts becoming necessary for many high earners. Because general advice cannot fully solve personal complexity, right? Every person has different priorities, different obligations, different trade offs, different goals, and different emotional tolerances. Which means the more personal your financial life becomes, the more personalized financial guidance starts becoming necessary. Because eventually, high earners stop needing disconnected financial answers and start needing coordinated decision support. Eventually, many professionals realized they were never actually looking for more random financial answers. They were looking for a structured thinking partner who could help them see how everything fits together. That is a very different thing emotionally. Now, this is where the DIY, DFY, and DWY framework becomes extremely useful. DIY, or do it yourself, has real strengths like control, learning, low external cost. And DIY can work surprisingly well at lower levels of complexity. But eventually, financial complexity starts outgrowing your bandwidth, and that is where DIY becomes overwhelming. Now, on the other side, DFY, or done for you, solves a different problem. It creates convenience, less effort, less involvement because somebody's doing it for you. But sometimes it also creates opacity. You can't see clearly what's going on. And this is where many professionals start feeling black box anxiety. They start wondering, what exactly is happening with my money? I mean, I know it's there, but it's like trying to look into a black box. Like, why was this decision made? I mean, does this still fit my situation? And I think this explains why many professionals realize they don't actually want total abandonment or blind delegation either, which is why I believe the better model for many high earners is not abandonment, it's coordinated guidance. DWY, or done with you, guidance. And this is where personalized financial guidance becomes much easier to understand emotionally. Because personalized financial guidance is not just information, it's not just products, it's coordinated guidance that helps your financial decisions start working together while still keeping you informed, involved, and intentional. That's why DWI feels so different psychologically, because it preserves coordination, involvement, visibility, guidance, and intentionality simultaneously. And that combination solves a very different problem emotionally. Not just confusion, but fragmentation. Financial planning is not really about products. It's about helping financial decisions become coordinated, intentional, and aligned with the life you want. And when that coordination becomes personal, ongoing, and integrated into real life decisions, that is what personalized financial guidance actually is. And many professionals quietly spend years accumulating financial activity while still lacking financial coordination underneath everything. They didn't actually need more disconnected financial advice, they needed coordination. And that is what personalized financial guidance is really solving. But even after realizing this, many smart professionals still try to manage everything themselves. And that creates another problem entirely. I'm Juan Casas from Beacon Wealth Advisory. I'll see you in the next episode.